presentation on my tried, tested, and true method of efficient weeding based on 6 years of working as a landscaping gardener. The main benefit of this method of weeding is that it can be done by a single landscaper with no piles of weeds being accidentally left behind, and it tends to get out the stubborn weeds that tend to grow back quickly. First, the tools necessary for efficient weeding are a loophole weeder bar, a scoop shovel, a flexible wire rake, a tree planter's pick, and a weed bucket or wheelbarrow, and a garden debris tarp. One of the first things you need to do is get rid of as much loose debris from the garden bed as possible, such as dead leaves. So you take the wire rake and you rake out the debris to expose the weeds that you want to remove from the garden bed. Once that is done, put the wire rake aside and use the weeder bar to move the loose debris onto the scoop shovel, with the debris being put into the weed bucket. If that fills the weed bucket, then that can be taken and put onto the garden debris tarp, with the tarp placed on a nearby roadway so that the support landscaping truck can easily get to it to take away the garden debris. When the garden bed is cleared of all debris exposing the weeds, the weeder bar can be used to dig out the weeds that have shallow roots directly into the scoop shovel, and once the scoop shovel is full, the dug up weeds can be placed into the weed bucket. For stubborn weeds that have deep roots that the weeder bar cannot reach, such as dandelions, you get out the tree planter's pick and use that to dig down more deeply to get out those weeds, roots and all. With such stubborn weeds pulled out with the tree planter's pick, the garden bed tends to stay clear of weeds for much longer periods of time. Once the bed is then cleared of weeds, then use the wire rake to make the garden bed look flat and well groomed. With the bed cleared of weeds, you once again empty your weed bucket onto the garden debris tarp, and you go on to the next garden bed to repeat the process over and over again until all of the customers' gardens are clear of weeds. I have used this method for pulling weeds for several years and have achieved a good level of success in keeping garden beds clear of weeds. So I personally recommend this method of weed pulling. And I will now demonstrate the method that I have just described. First, you take out the garden rake and you rake the leaves. Rake the leaves out of the garden bed, close to the edge of the garden bed. Close to the garden bed into a nice orderly pile. Then take your weeder bar, loophole weeder bar, and your scoop shovel. Put the scoop shovel like so, and you push the garden debris onto the scoop shovel. And then you put it into the weed bucket. You use the garden rake or the loophole weeder bar as the backside of it makes a good come along for the leaves and debris. You help organize piles with the backside of the loophole weeder bar. And you carry on putting it into the scoop shovel and into the weed bucket. And then, once all the debris is gone from the bed, put the weeder bar or the scoop shovel onto the ground, placed against your leg so it's ready to receive the weeds. And you use the other side of the weeder bar to take the weeds from the garden bed and onto the scoop shovel. And you place the weeds into the garden bucket. Need some more weeds, like so. Weeder bar the weeds onto the scoop shovel, like so. Then you put it in the weed bucket. Put the weeds into the weed bucket, and then once the bed is now clear of weeds, the bed is now clear of weeds, you take your wire rake and make the bed look all nice and give it a nice good raking out, getting any extra debris that might be still left into a small pile. And the nice raked lines make the bed look really nice and fresh. You take the weed scoop shovel, once again, you rake the debris onto the scoop shovel. And you put that in the weed bucket. You put that into the weed bucket. You put your tools down, and the bed is now weeded. Then you take the weed bucket and you go out to the road where you've placed the tarp. I've just got it here just for show, but you usually put the tarp next to the road so it's easily available for the support truck to dump. And you dump the weeds onto the tarp. Yep. And that is the method that I've always used and I've found very effective for efficient weeding. Thank you very much.